there may be I'm getting ahead of myself. There are two views about Isa alayhi salam, the dominant view and the minority view. The dominant view is that Isa alayhi salam is coming back. The minority view, some put doubt in the notion that Isa alayhi salam is coming back. I'm personally of the view, I share with you ahead of time, I'm personally of the view that he is coming back, alayhi salam. In light not only of the ahadith, my area of expertise is not hadith literature. And hadith criticism is a complicated subject. I go to scholars that I really rely on for hadith work and go and spend time with them to understand the authenticity and the interpretation of hadith texts, especially complicated hadith texts. My study is more focused on Quran. And it seems to me that in Quran studies, the return of Isa alayhi salam is mentioned in implicit ways. But implicit yet undeniable as far as I'm concerned. Like they seem to be strong enough hints. Allah Azza wa Jal inspired this woman to do several things very accurately. And one of the things He inspired her to do accurately is to say that I'm dedicating this child in your service, and not just this child, her future lineage, her offsprings, plural, dhurriya. Now we only know of one of her children, which is who? Isa alayhi salam. But if we accept the view that Isa alayhi salam is coming back, and in those narrations he actually has children. He gets married and has children, which is a continuation of her dhurriya. And so there is a connection to the wording that she used in a very subtle way, possibly linking it to the future life of Isa alayhi salam after his return. So inni u'iduha wa dhurriyataha bika. It's also interesting that Isa alayhi salam is always in high conflict situations. When he was here on earth, then he was surrounded by schemes, shaitani schemes that were trying to kill him. And when he comes back, things are much easier. Well, no. When he comes back, then he's again like directly facing the closest thing to shaitan in flesh form. So there's a lot of that parallel too when she says, I'm dedicating this child and her offspring into your refuge against a shaitan al-rajim. I haven't ever done a tafsir discussion on A'udhu billahi minash shaitan al-rajim. Even when I taught the Fatiha, I started with Alhamdulillah. I've written an article on the Basmala. I didn't really talk a lot about A'udhu billahi minash shaitan al-rajim, but a couple of things, because it's come up now, that I'll mention in passing, that I think everybody should know. The word ash-shaytan has two possible origins, shatana or shata. Okay, so the root letters are either sheen, ta, and noon, or sheen, ya, and ta. Okay, those are the two possible meanings. Shatana, if you accept shatana for shaitan, then, or Satan, like that's where it comes from, actually means distance. The one taken far away. The one taken far away from the closeness. He was closest to Allah and he was distanced from Allah. He was matrud, he was cast off, right? And that's what makes him distant. And his job is to make others distant from Allah. So that's what he is, and that's what he wants to do. He is ba'id and he is muba'id. He's far away and he wants to take people far away from Allah. Okay? Antamilu maylan azima. Right? So shaitan wa yuridu alladhina yattabi'una shahawat antamilu maylan azima. Those who follow desires, meaning follow the way of the devil, they want you to deviate far, far, far away. Dalalan ba'ida, the Quran will use. Far away misguidance. The idea that the more you follow shaitan, the farther you get from Allah. That comes from shaitana. Interestingly enough, it's a direct opposite of uwadh. Because if you have the i'adha or the isti'adha of Allah, you're holding on as close as you can to Allah. You're clinging on to Allah. And you're clinging on to Allah, keeping Him as far away as possible. So He's not just away from Allah, by doing so, you're keeping Him far away from you. Okay, so that's the idea behind shaitana. The other meaning of shaitan is shayt, from shayt, which means jealousy and anger. Al-hasad wal-ghadab. So shaitan is extremely jealous, and he's extremely angry, and his anger comes from his jealousy. Right? So those are the two things he wants to instill into people so that they can commit their evil crimes. In the case of Isa alayhi salam, it is actually jealousy. He knows more Tawrat than the rabbis do. And that's making them very angry. It's making them look bad. It's making their position weakened in society. And so it's jealousy and anger, the way of shaitan that created the animosity towards Isa alayhi salam. But anyways, he says, I dedicate her and I entrust her in clinging on to you and your protection, and along with her offspring. وَذُرِّيَّتَهَا. Notice the وَذُرِّيَّتَهَا is muqaddam. It's not إِنِّي أُعِيذُهَا وَذُرِّيَّتَهَا بِكَ. It's إِنِّي أُعِيذُهَا بِكَ وَذُرِّيَّتَهَا. So this is واو للمعية. It's along with her offspring. Not just her offspring too while I'm at it. So she adds that in.